It's starting. And the recording. All right. Good luck.
Okay, Joanna.
Hi, everybody. This is the meeting of the Economic Development Committee. Tonight we have some things on our agenda, including Enzo's and La Casa del Mofongo, and more, very important, the Office of Cannabis Management. We were going to do the review of minutes, however, we don't have the minutes up. So what's that?
Let's introduce ourselves.
In here.
Let's introduce ourselves first.
Okay, so, are we going to introduce ourselves? Is that?
Shradana Pearson
That's
from
not right.
11 member.
Sure.
Okay,
My name is Veronica Castro. I am on the Economic Development Committee.
I'm Joanne Rubino. I'm co-chair of the Economic Development Committee.
And we have Miguel Dwyer, the committee member. He's on WebEx, and also Harry Santella, who's also a committee member. And they are both joining us on WebEx today.
Okay, so, all right, we've done our introductions, and like I said, that we're not going to go over the minutes because they're not up yet. So we will go right into, start with the renewal for Enzo's Restaurant. 1998 Williamsbridge Road. He's looking for a full license to renewal. There has been no problem ever with Enzo's, so no problem with the police, no problem with anything with
Okay.
Enzo's. So, is anyone have anything to say? Because I'll go right to the motion.
I just want to check with Chris. Chris,
Yeah.
has anyone contacted the office with any issues with Enzo's Restaurant?
No.
Okay, I'd like a motion, to make a motion, for Enzo's Restaurant that we have no objection to, and we're going to send a letter of no objection to the New York State Liquor Authority
I
for a full
second.
license. You second, thank
I
you.
second.
Right, okay.
Discussion.
Okay,
Any
Any dis-
objections? Oh, yeah, discussion, sorry.
any
John.
discussion? Okay, any objections?
One thing that I think, before we finish with this motion, I think we want to hear from them, then give the gallery a chance to speak, and then do the motions.
Okay, is anybody here from Enzo's?
No,
No.
okay,
No, no,
So-
renewals, we never call people anymore.
Okay,
okay.
okay.
So we'll continue that motion after the gallery's spoken.
Okay,
So, yeah, it's on the agenda that way anyway, so.
oh, okay, all right. Okay, so, oh, I see. Oh, all right. Okay, so we have new liquor licenses, La Casa del Mofongo. I do believe, is anyone here first? Okay, okay, thank you. And your name, sir?
Felix Cabrera, Jose Felix Cabrera.
Oh, okay.
My lawyer is here too.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, let's listen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Let me share. In case anyone has questions. Okay,
So.
We're up.
Right here.
Okay, okay, very good. So this is our application. I believe when we first saw this, there wasn't a whole lot of information on here, so we really wanted to wait on that. So now I see that you put in the application and there is a lot more information. Was that Bill?
let's go there now.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, hey, Joe. Hey.
I apologize.
It's okay. Joe?
I'm thinking 6:30.
Okay, so Joe, why don't you sit here or you want to sit at the?
Oh, yeah, let's,
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
So we're up to La Casa del Mofongo. We did Enzo's. We're gonna do the motions
Okay,
at the
that's
end,
easy.
we're aware. So that's, yeah,
okay.
okay.
Enzo's is good. We know that.
Here we go. Yeah, we did the motion, but we're gonna do the motion at the end, so,
Okay.
all right.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, all right.
so we have the application on the
Right
screen
on the
for
screen, Joe.
La Casa de
Okay,
Mofongo.
we have a nice group of people.
Mhm.
That's coming good. Okay, Mofongo.
We have a person here. We have this, Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Yes, and we have his lawyer here.
Joe Thompson and.
Hello, Joe. My name's Frank Palloa. How are you?
Okay, Frank, thank you. So we might as well jump into this. Casa de Mofongo is in a great location.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, they're in the mall.
Not for you, for the neighborhood.
Oh. The problem too.
They're in the mall. And even though the music in the beginning seemed to have been a problem, but since you are in the mall and most of the people are pretty quiet late at night, and I don't see any problem with your music at all because it doesn't affect the public, the outside public.
Right, because they're not asking for a cabaret license. They're not
No,
asking
but they
for
have
anything
loud
like that.
music.
Yeah.
They have loud music,
No,
but it doesn't affect.
but it's inside. And
community.
it's, yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
it's in the mall itself.
right.
They do
Um,
have checked off on the application that they are expecting live music.
I'm sorry.
It says live music on
On the
the application.
application.
Oh, yeah, I saw the application before, and we knew about the music, but depending on where a place is located, what kind of music you're gonna have. And you are open till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, this is they're going to put the entertainment music.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is on Monday to Friday, all hours are all seven.
The
So
same
Monday,
hours,
okay.
they have the same hours for the entire week, up until 4 AM in the morning.
Saturday to Sunday.
They, we have no negative reports. Chris, do you have any negative reports on this organization at all?
What do you mean?
I want to see,
Any
This is a
negative?
brand, this is brand new.
that's all I have?
Yeah,
Previous business.
but, this is a place that.
I've sent all the information, all the questionnaires you guys have them, but please don't open the information for public because it's a few private
No,
information.
no, I'm not gonna do that, because it just comes down to the fact of whether or not they're looking for a full license. The only problem I did have was the 4 o'clock closing time. But being in the mall, they have plenty of parking, so I know, I think, gonna have a lot of DWIs, but that's up to the police to kind of regulate.
Oh,
But,
Miguel has a question.
Miguel?
His hand is raised.
Oh, okay. Miguel, wait until I finish, then I'll answer your question, and you can present your question. This is also a place that they have a lot of racing. I think we had a lot of racing problems over there. And I'm not sure if this is a good thing, because maybe we'll get rid of some of the racers.
It's not only the racers, it's not only the racers. What they do is they make parties, like it's near the Aldi.
Mhm.
And there has been reports that these people come with their giant speakers and you can hear them forever. correct? Yes, like tailgating. But it's like a party, they compare their cars and their speakers, and a lot of the community, you can hear it all over Pelham Garden sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't heard that lately, so perhaps because, there is no business in that particular site, perhaps with more business there, that can be more controlled, because I'm sure you wouldn't like that either, to have these people, sort of just congregating in the middle of the night. So it might be a good thing that that area is going to be filled up.
Yeah, it might be a good thing. I
Yeah.
think with more population there,
Mhm.
that it can be controlled a little bit
Yeah.
better. We don't have any negatives on this license, unless anybody has any other comments about it.
I still have a question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, please.
My question is for the applicants. Do they have another liquor license anywhere else?
Do you have another liquor license? Do you own another place?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
And where's that located?
1447 San Nicola Avenue.
So it's the one in Washington Heights.
Yes, and also 1390 San Nicola Avenue too.
Okay, thank you.
Have you been cited by the police on any one of these two locations?
No.
Hmm.
And the 1447 and have a legal license there for 18 years and never have a problem with the police.
Experience. It's good.
I think I know who he is. I think I know who he is.
You have any comments on that?
No, I've been to the establishment before. He runs the place, to legit. It's no problem or nothing like that. I've been to the St. Nicholas location before.
Okay, well, that's one in your corner.
Thank God he was satisfied.
And Cynthia had her
And
hand up.
you didn't pay him.
No, I got another question. I got another question. He's a promoter too, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely know who he is. He's a respectable person in his community. I definitely know Cabrera now.
Okay.
My
That's
question
pretty
is to
good.
you is,
Coming from somebody who knows his reputation and his other businesses.
So Joe,
Joe, I have
it's
a
up
question.
to you.
Go ahead and then.
do you have cameras on your establishment?
Yes.
And do you have exit lights and emergency lights?
Yes.
And is the egress least to the back, right?
Yes.
3 exits, I think. He's got 3
No,
emergency
those are the
exits.
problem with the business.
So it's up to you, Joe. Miguel and Harry are both on the committee, so that's why they spoke. You have 2 hands up for board members, but they're not on the committee, so it's up to you if you want them to speak
Now
now.
let them speak now.
Okay, so Cynthia had her hand up first.
Two
Cynthia?
quick questions. I know that there's a Casa del Mofongo on 207th Street. Is that yours as well?
No.
Okay. And then just the only other thing to bear in mind is that this location is very different from the one, let's say on St. Nicholas, because the one on St. Nicholas is very residential. It's it's all surrounded by buildings. This is in a big parking lot. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
And our second person?
Christine Culpepper?
Hi, I wanted to ask first, I know that he said he's checked off live music. When you say live music, you mean a live band? Is that what you mean? Live music?
I have a job to you later.
It could be, right?
Yeah.
Could be. Could be soloists too, could be a band.
Gotcha,
It's-
gotcha. What type of music are you sort of, I mean, I can make an assumption that is salsa, merengue, whatever. Is that safe to say?
Merengue, salsa, sometimes
Bachata,
Latin music.
Latin music. Okay,
I'm promoter the Latin music
okay, yeah.
for 40 years.
And normally the crowd that you draw in your other locations, is this an older, more mature crowd, correct?
25 over.
25 and
over.
over? It,
Yes.
but that isn't mandatory for entrance into your establishment, correct?
What's it?
They don't have to be 25. That's your target audience.
Yeah.
But if someone who comes in is 23 or 24, you're not going to turn them away.
No, you can't regulate that.
No.
Not regulate.
Public house.
It's public. Tell me.
And
do you
my other
have-
question, I'm sorry. My other question is, since, people always have concerns about like sort of, the issues that might arise from establishments like this, is there security going to be present from, all hours of the operation?
Yeah, there's in this shopping center, there's a 24-hour security. They have it for the landlord have, but we pay for the can. They have it 7 day a week, 24-hour security, 4 minivan, 24 hours in the shopping center.
That's good. That's good. Do you have any type of sound abatement?
No, there's no basement there.
No.
Sound abatement. In other words,
There is,
to keep the sound from
There is-
traveling to.
there is existing soundproofing from the TGIF. But
Oh,
to be honest, it's minimal. It's not major soundproofing.
yeah, okay. Well, you're not.
It's what was left over. It's what was left over from.
Okay. There's a question here.
How are you gonna check IDs to make sure that they're legal?
Security.
Just look at, say, driver's license?
He said security.
Security.
Check.
The security.
Usually it's a driver's license, yes.
Right, because you could get a driver's license at 18, that's why.
That's true.
17.
Security's job is to read the date of birth of the.
Yeah. And I think am I not supposed to speak? But I
Go
think
ahead.
the New York State licenses have like
Right, underage.
a marker that says not 21 until such and such a date.
Right.
So that's good to know. too.
Hi, I'm sorry. It's Christine again. I just have a couple of other questions. I wasn't finished, but my question is because of the age thing, like some places allow, people under 18 into the restaurant part. Is that sort of the same, thing that you have going on, the same setup that you have going on, but to drink you have to be 21?
In New York State, an under 21 individual has to be accompanied by an adult. So if families and things like that come in, then yes. But we're not planning a segregated area for under 21, no.
No, that wasn't my
Family-
question,
If a
but
family comes in with their kids, then by all means, we'll seat them and serve them.
yeah, no, I just wanted everyone to be clear that this is a restaurant. There will be people under 18 that will be allowed in, accompanied, as you said, by an adult.
Absolutely correct.
They're going to be,
That's,
they're going to be, they're going to
one
be
second.
restaurant.
Every establishment has that. And that if you go to any restaurant and you bring your family, there's going to be young people. There are going to be people under 18, people over 70. So that's not an issue, really.
Is
Go
there a
ahead.
time at which people under 21 will no longer be able to be in the establishment?
Anyone under 21 is being accompanied by their family.
Exactly, but if I bring
The
my
answer's no.
if I
The
bring
answer's
my
no.
child in at 2 o'clock in the morning, are they going to be able to come in?
Yes. It's a public house.
They just can't go to the bar area. They can go to the seating area where the restaurant is, but they can't go to the bar area. I'm talking from experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's a fact. Any other questions?
I've also owned restaurants and bars, so I kind of know how that works. We made sure that by like 11 o'clock, there were no more kids because that gets tricky. But okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We have we got 3 hands raised. Who's there?
Cynthia and then Philip.
All right, Cynthia, go ahead.
Hi, so I know that there are a lot of establishments that start out their evenings, as a restaurant, family type of environment. And then after a certain time, let's say 11 p.m., tables get moved around and it becomes more of a lounge. Is that the vision for this establishment, or is it going to be pretty much a restaurant the whole time?
No, they can be, they're going to, my operation going to be the same operation I have in San Nicolas for 18 years. There's a restaurant, there's no lounge, no club, no dance, just restaurant. But sometimes I'm going to put entertainment, to the people coming and enjoy the entertainment. They don't have but no dance at all.
So if somebody comes in at 2 o'clock in the morning, they can order food and have a sit-down dinner.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Phyllis?
Hi, I just have a quick question about the music. Will it be going until 4 a.m. or is there a cutoff time for the music?
No, we'll be going to 4 a.m.
Okay.
Okay,
Christine, did you?
Go ahead.
finish your questions?
Who's next? I can't see from.
Chris.
Chris?
Christine.
Christine?
I'm sorry. My hand is still up. I'm driving, so I can't.
No, that's okay. I wanted to make sure you-
All right.
Sorry.
A couple of more questions for you. You have security cameras?
I did excellent.
Oh, yeah. What about metal detectors?
No matter the title, but the more they have a security 24 hours, the more.
Mhm.
Beside that, I want to have a security in my place, couple of security to check, somebody coming up after 11, after 12,
Mhm.
somebody coming alarms, somebody coming with the families. I mean, the security they don't have to check. But if somebody coming alarms, the security know, because I have a big company that do security for me, so they know they have to check somebody coming alarms. Like some people.
Plus it's a restaurant, not a club. It might affect the would be.
Okay, this doesn't make too much of a difference, but are they uniformed or civilian clothes?
The security?
Security.
Their uniforms.
Okay, thank you.
Probably a t-shirt.
Any other questions?
So your restaurant's gonna have you're gonna be cooking in there, right?
Yes.
So, every 3 months you have to do the service where you're, the thing that draw the smoke stuff, the cooking area. Who is the service contractor doing that?
I
I just
use
see the application, that's what I'm asking. Some usually you put in the application.
I don't remember the company, but I know what you mean. But I use a company.
If you cook.
Yeah, I use a company. Fire.
Buy something.
Fire. What's the name of the company? I don't
It's
remember.
not Master Fire, is it?
Master Fire. Master Fire. Master
Biggest
Fire.
company.
They will do that every 3 months.
Yeah.
They will come and clean.
Master Fire company every 3 months.
That's right.
Biggest company.
How many?
Also, I have a fire lamp by the way.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Does the restaurant have a separate bar or it's just strictly a restaurant?
The restaurant have it. They have it from the beginning when they have it TJ Friday. They have it the separate bar in the middle before me. So now I do the renovation, but I want to leave the bar the way it is.
That's where all the plumbing is.
Yes.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. It does.
Joe, you said something about the
You have?
You say something about the hour. You gonna stick to that?
I'm sorry, what?
You say something about the hours. Are you gonna stick to that?
Oh,
4 a.m.
the hours? Yeah, 4 o'clock. But because of their location, 4 o'clock is that outlandish. Because they are away from the public, they are away from the streets. And they do have live music. I don't see a problem with 4 o'clock with them. In other words, they're not gonna be making noise and disturbing the neighbors,
Right,
and that type of thing.
right. It's not gonna be an.
I'm not going to open a 7 day a week or 7 to 4 o'clock. Maybe Friday and Saturday, all depend the crowds.
Okay.
Because the day week, I'm not going to open. I will to close maybe 11, 12 o'clock.
But you still need the flexibility in case.
I know, but no.
No, the flexibility is good. You're a good businessman. If you're not doing any business after midnight, you close and go home.
Exactly.
It's not worth paying the staff.
Okay, any other problems, any other questions?
Just one. In the 18 years that you've been at your other location, have you ever been cited by the SLA?
In other words, have you ever been summoned
Which
or
place?
cited by the SLA?
State Liquor Authority.
No, which restaurant?
Oh, the one that he has. right
The
here.
San Nicolas.
Plus.
You're
I
existing.
don't remember it. I think I have it in South Beach. I have another restaurant in the San Nicolas, called South Beach Restaurant. I think I have a one summer, like in the last 12 years.
But you don't have that restaurant anymore.
Do you recall what it was for?
But in San Nicolas, I don't think I have any. I don't remember having any summons.
Nor do I.
But 1 in 12 years is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna argue with
Thank you.
that. Okay. In view of this, I'm gonna close discussion and we're gonna take a vote here.
We'll take a vote at the end. They have number 8 is
Okay.
motions.
They have that down
I
here.
was surprised too. I made a motion.
Okay. We'll
Basically,
make
we
the
want to
motion
give
at
the
the end.
gallery, anyone in the gallery who has to speak who hasn't had.
You already did Chipotle, right?
No, we did not.
No, you didn't?
No.
No, that's more wine, beer,
And
cider.
Are they open yet? I know that,
I don't think they're open yet.
no.
Uh,
Did they give us an application? I don't recall.
I don't know. Chris, did we get an application from Chipotle?
I'll send it to you guys. You're supposed to have them, all of you.
Yeah, they emailed it to us. Emails.
Send to the entire committee. You have details over there.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have anything negative on Chipotle?
I think we had a pretty positive discussion.
You asking me, Joe?
We had a positive
Discuss it
discussion the
already.
last time.
Joe, you asking me?
I'm sorry, what?
You asking me?
Yeah.
No, it's brand new. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I sorry, respectfully,
That's the
just
lawyer. There you go.
sorry to interrupt. My name is Maston Sansom. I'm the attorney representing the applicant. I have two representatives here actually from the applicant, Alba Ruiz, as well as Liberty Mercedes, who's the general manager. Alba is the field leader. Happy to answer any questions you have. Happy to provide a description of what we're looking to do. Obviously, this is a Chipotle that I think most people are somewhat familiar with, but so whatever we can do to answer any of your questions.
Okay, number one question. Is this the only restaurant that the owners have?
No.
How many more
That the owners
restaurants?
have? No. There are multiple Chipotles, many probably. Well, I've certainly represented many throughout the boroughs that have done this. And again, it's beer, wine, and cider. So no liquor for these establishments.
And what are you asking for? You want a full liquor license?
No, sir.
Wine and beer?
Yeah, just beer, wine, and cider.
Yeah.
What's the capacity of your place?
The capacity is let's see, the total square feet is 600 square feet. Actually, no, correct that. That's dining area. It's about 3,000 square feet. The total capacity now is, for some reason, escaping me. I apologize. One moment. Let's see. I have it broken up. I have 11 tables, 50 seats. I'm sorry, Alba or Liberty. Do you happen to know offhand the capacity?
Not yet. We didn't visit the restaurant yet because it's not open. It's under construction. So, however, in 2 weeks we're going to be able to see the restaurant officially. Be able to see the capacity. I don't have the plan right now.
Okay. How many square feet? And do you have a bar area, or is this strictly restaurant table service?
Yeah, so everyone will be served from the counter, which is considered the bar, right? So no, there will not be table service where you will have a server come out and serve you your drinks. You will order them at the bar, the counter with your food. To answer your previous question, total square feet appears to be 2,957 square feet, with a kitchen square footage of 350, dining area 600, square footage of the bar, and again, it's the counter where you order the food, is approximately 50 square feet. So it's exactly what you would think of if you have been to a Chipotle, where you would go up and you'd order your food, but you would have the option to order beer, wine, or cider, depending on if they have those different options there.
It's kind of like ordering a beer at McDonald's.
That's
At a much more sophisticated location.
In a much nicer place, but yeah, I mean, if that gives you a better idea of how that works.
I think you're okay with space. What are your hours?
The hours of operation, and maybe Alba, I'll kick that over to you. But
I can help.
Yep.
We open at 10:45 and close at 10 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Monday to Friday or Monday?
Monday to Sunday is the same schedule.
Oh, the entire week.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have music?
Yes, we have a music, medium level.
Recorded background, so no, DJ or live music or anything like that.
Oh, okay. Questions from the committee?
You don't know exactly how many people will be in your restaurant because if you're over 75, you have to have a sprinkler system. That's why I want to make choice. We want to make sure that.
So, well, everything obviously will be certainly done according to code. As I look at the certificate of occupancy, the total number of people, open space for 1. Looks like it's a somewhat confusing. I apologize. I don't want to misquote you on the exact this certificate of occupancy.
This is a new establishment, right? So you should have a new format of that.
That's correct.
The format should say what exactly going to be in the establishment.
I'm sorry?
The format will tell you what you will build in there and what will be happening in there.
Yeah, so
anyway, we could always look back on that one.
yeah.
This establishment have camera, emergency light, exit light, everything like that, right?
Yeah, there's going to be 6 cameras sporadically throughout for security purposes. There's going to be a manager on site at all times. Managers will be tips trained as well as staff. Yeah, I apologize that I can't give you the exact number. I just don't want to give you the wrong number is the problem.
Okay, well, that's good.
That's all right.
Do you have cameras?
That's correct. 6 cameras will be dispersed throughout the premises.
And how many means of egress do you have?
Ella,
ways of
would you
getting
happen
out?
to know that?
Can you repeat again the question?
Is there one entrance? Is there an
How many doors do
emergency
you have?
exit?
How many ways of getting out?
It's always two, one of the back of the house and one on the front. However, I didn't visit the restaurant yet to confirm that information, but all Chipotle have 2 back doors.
Okay, we have 2. That's good. That's good. All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Yo.
Oh, they have a question? Go ahead.
Chipotle hires people under the age of 21, even though you need to be 21 to drink these liquids that are being asked for. How are your people at the counter going to check identifications of somebody who comes up and asks for, let's say, the beer, wine, or cider?
Yes, I can answer that. So, however, we check at the end, we pay when the guests pay at the register, we only schedule people that is under 21. No minor is scheduled to work on the register to give the beers to the guests. So minors don't work on the register.
So how do you check though the customer's age?
They give the ID, so the cashier can verify the ID.
All right, with more detail, it asks you what year were they born, and you have to put it in the register.
So they
And
don't
just-
order the drinks until they actually get to the register, just like they do with the soda. Is that correct?
Yeah,
They
they
have to get to
say,
the
oh, I would
register
like this beer, and then you have to check the ID. It says the many years of like back, and you have to insert it, and then it gives you the option of the beers, because there's a premium and there's a regular.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just as a quick point, you do not have to be over 21 to sell a beer.
Said that.
Oh, okay.
I think what Alba was saying, Alba, correct me if I'm wrong, that you are going to have, and it's not legally required, but were you saying that only 21, someone 21 or over would be actually conducting the sale, or because according to law, you can have 18 or over, bartenders can be 18 or over, to sell. So, but again, everyone's going to be tips trained and understand, the seriousness of, and I will submit that, this is an amenity to the food service, right? This is not, a major, hopefully it supports the business, but it's certainly not, a major revenue or focus of the business. It's supposed to be an extra amenity for patrons that do want to have that, but no one, I would find it very rare if people were frequenting having more than 1 or 2 drinks at all at the establishment.
Okay, thank you. One last question. Do you have a separate bar area or everything is served at the tables?
So everything is served over the counter, and then patrons then bring the food and beverage to their table if they're going to consume it on the premises.
Okay, so there's no strict place to drink liquor.
Right. There's no specific bar where people would go and
For
hang
those who
out.
aren't familiar with Chipotle, you order the food, you start at the beginning, you go down the line at the counter, you get to the register, that's where you order your drinks, whether it be soda or whether it be beer, it's what they're gonna be doing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no separate area. Okay, we have one hand raised. Let's get that person. Could you read the
Christine?
Hi, yes, my question is about, again, IDing of people. This is going to be done to everybody, regardless of how young or old they look, correct? Or is it just, it's gonna be left to the discretion of the person asking for ID?
My understanding is that anyone at other establishments, anyone looking under the age of 40 gets carded, if you will, which is a standard practice, obviously subject to some discretion, but the intent is to obviously capture and make sure that there is no underage service whatsoever. And again, it would not help the business whatsoever to engage in such conduct because it's just not their focus. The food is the focus, and again, this is an amenity.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Can I say something to you? Chipotle is like a nationally recognized chain restaurant.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to get an idea, that cabinet there, the black cabinet behind you, that's about the size of the case where they have all of their sodas, beer and wine.
Oh.
That case, and so it's not I would doubt that it might be 1 or 2% of their total sales. And
Oh.
definitely no one's going there to.
They're not going there to drink.
No.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Let's move on.
Yep, I would agree. Thank you.
Other questions?
I'm sorry, and just to make it clear, because I heard him, Ms. Alva there, I think explain this clearly, that when they check the ID, in order to purchase the alcohol, they have it set in the computer so that you have to enter the year the person was born before you can make the sale.
Okay, I don't think they finished the point. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Since there's no further questions
No,
on
that's the
that,
hand there, is still out?
Christine asked a question.
she asked the question. Okay, let's move on.
Next on the agenda is the
Office of Cannabis Management. Are they here?
They're here.
Thank you, members. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Who's speaking? I can't read this.
Yeah, we're gonna make the motion and towards the end of the meeting. You can take the motion or you can leave. It's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
You take care.
Okay.
Because it was asked that the gallery session be after everything.
You already
and-
asked people.
Take care. Thanks for coming in. Good meeting you.
Why do you just read the motion if anybody?
Well, they said make the motion at the end.
Input, people had nothing to say.
Sorry,
You already asked if anyone had anything to say, people said no.
I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
You already have asked if people had any.
You allow people from the gallery to.
We said
to ask
no.
questions.
Yeah.
So you might as well just do the motion so they can leave.
Yeah, they're the gallery.
Oh, that's true. We can do that.
We
I
can-
mean, that's.
While he's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Veronica, already the questions were asked of gallery. If anybody had to say something, so go ahead, do the motion, so at least we can leave everything for cannabis management. So go ahead. Make the motion for all three of them.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, Chris. You're
Yes,
good.
so we have
Make a
three,
motion.
Kevin. We have Casa del Fango and Chipotle.
Okay.
So,
Well, you discussed Enzo's
Enzo's.
before, and I know it well.
right?
So I know you didn't have any
Right.
problems there. So the motion is no objection to Enzo's Restaurant and getting their full license.
I
Do
second.
we
Renewal.
have any discussion on that?
We did
Any
that.
We
more
already did.
discussion? Okay.
And I second.
Any abstentions? Okay, so
Passes.
So who
that's
did
the motion. The
Joe?
motion is that we have no objections to Enzo.
Until like a license.
Right.
And they
Send
were
a letter to, an email, of no objections.
no objections to SLA.
So I made this.
Okay. Any
And
any abstentions? Okay. Then it passes unanimously for Enzo's.
Okay.
Next one is La Casa del Mofongo on East Gun Hill Road, where the owner and his attorney was here and commented on this and answered our question. The gallery was allowed to ask questions and they answered those questions, I think to everyone's satisfaction. Based on that, I have no objection, and the motion is we have no objection to La Casa del Mofongo and getting their full license. Do I have
I
a second?
second.
Do I have any
Second.
objections? Do I have any abstentions? Okay, that passes. And the last one, of course, is Chipotle. And I think we
Thank you all.
ran them over the coals pretty good.
Yeah. See?
Okay,
Take
thank
care.
you.
Take care and good luck.
All right.
Just so you know, this is a recommendation we're gonna make to the full board. Tomorrow is the full board meeting. So we'll be voting, the full board will be voting on it tomorrow. So if you wanna, it's gonna be on WebEx. You could join on WebEx if you wanna see how the vote is, but you shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.
Oh,
Thank you.
incidentally, that boy is too young to drink. Keep that in mind.
You don't drink.
We drink Pepsi, right?
Have a
Okay.
good night, guys.
All right, good night.
Take care. Have a good night.
Okay.
We wish you success. Okay, so
Chipotle.
Chipotle, I think we've asked all the questions we needed to ask of Chipotle. Everybody received answers that I think were satisfactory. Everything is recorded, so if there's something that misspoken, then we will have that on tape and we will confront you with it. But based on what you've said and the nature of the restaurant itself, I have no objection, and the motion is no objection to Chipotle Mexican Grill.
Sure.
For the wine.
He
For
didn't
their
mention
wine and beer license. And
I
cider.
second.
Okay, we have a second?
Miguel.
Okay, any abstentions? Any
Discussion.
objections? Okay,
You're gonna give us the numbers of people in the restaurant, right? Maybe later on?
Absolutely, absolutely. We'd be more than happy to give you the numbers.
Shredder, I'm sorry. They sent the package. I forwarded to you guys on June 6th.
Okay.
I didn't see it. That's what I said. I didn't see it, so that's why I asked the question, Chris. Right, I didn't see it.
okay, so you have that and you can ship it out to the members of the board. And let's see, I think that finishes us. What's the Office of Cannabis
That, the
Management?
Office of Cannabis Management is here.
Is here?
Yeah. They're
Okay.
gonna
Did
give
we
us a
finish that motion? It passed unanimous?
Pass unanimous.
Anybody second?
Okay, can we get the
Okay.
Office of
Thank you
Cannabis
again,
Management
members. Thank you.
and your
Thank you.
presentation, please?
Again, this is the referral we're gonna give to the full board. You can join us for the full board meeting tomorrow to see how the full board votes, but again, you shouldn't have a problem, but if you'd like to join us tomorrow night, you can.
Okay, thank you so much. Really, thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
We have Pascal Bernard and
Yes,
Philip
Pascal
Rumsey.
Bernard and Philip Rumsey. So I'm gonna start with sharing my screen. In the interest of time, we're going to, we're gonna go a little quickly because it's already 8 o'clock. And I know some of you wanna, get home, but we do send the slide deck within 48 hours after our presentation. So the office will have it no later than Friday, and people are able to go at it at their own leisure. So I will start.
Well, listen, before you start,
Yes.
don't worry about time. This board will stay here all night if we need to. So go ahead, please.
I heard some nervous laughter after you said that one. So I don't know if everybody on the board agrees with you.
Speak for yourself, Joe.
Okay, so what is it?
So let's get started. What's legal? Adults 21 and over can possess up to 3 ounces of cannabis flower, 24 grams of concentrate, and that can be oils, tinctures, vapes, edibles. And it can be consumed in the privacy of your, I'm sorry. Back. Here we go. It could be consumed in a private home or a state licensed consumption site. Currently, we don't have any state licensed consumption sites yet. And if you live in NYCHA, you cannot consume it in your home because it is still an illicit drug at the federal level. And wherever smoking of tobacco, smoking and vaping of tobacco is allowed, smoking and vaping of cannabis is allowed. And so the law was passed, the Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act, we call that the MRTA or MARTA, was passed March 31st of 2021. It created the five-member board cannabis control board, and it also created the new agency, which we work in, Office of Cannabis Management, also created a 20-member cannabis advisory board, and it shifted adult use recreational marijuana out of the state, it shifted it into public health perspective and really not one of, shifted it out of the penal code. And so what that did is it allowed us to expand the state's existing medical cannabis and hemp program. And again, it put it in a public health framework. And so at the seat, think of this as a 3-legged stool. The seat is public health. There's still public safety, social justice, and economic development. And so one of the first things that happened is records were expunged for many New Yorkers who had, convictions. And invest about 40% of the adult use cannabis tax revenues will go towards rebuilding communities where many of these adults came from that were disproportionately impacted by policing during Prohibition. And it set a goal of awarding 50% of the licenses to social and economic equity applicants, and also developed a social and economic equity plan. We call that the SEAT plan.
Okay, where exactly are you located?
So we're gonna get through the slides and then we can have questions. Thank you. So here you see, this explains the taxes, the tax for cannabis. So as you can see, pretty much the higher the THC, the higher the taxes, and 9% of state excess tax on sales of cannabis produced by retailers and consumers, and 4% local excise tax rate at the retail price. And so 25 will go to the county, 75 will go to the city, town, or village. And so 25 the Bronx, 75 New York City. And it also, remember I said 40% would be invested in communities disproportionately impacted by prohibition. And so that's the New York State Cannabis Revenue Fund. And so as you can see, 40% for education, 40% for grants, for community grants, and 20% will go towards drug treatment and education. And the grants will really be targeted towards, again, communities disproportionately impacted by prohibition. And the Cannabis Advisory Board will make determination as to, who are awarded grants. So there are 9 license types, 9 licenses that for the adult use, there's as you can see on the screen, there's the retail, on-site consumption, cultivation, nursery, processor, distributor, delivery, cooperative, and micro business. And so these are the 9 licenses in the MRTA. And we have a tiered system. And so this is what the tier system looks like. There's the supply tier, the retail tier, the medical tier, and the laboratory tier. And no person may have a direct or indirect interest across tiers. And this includes any stock ownership. So you could not, have a nursery and then also be a registered organization or be in the laboratory tier. So, and this is done really to ensure that we create space for small and mid-sized companies and opportunities. So we have conditional licenses, and this really was created to jumpstart the industry here in New York State. Again, we have the 9 license types that we just talked about, and those were the ones created by the MRTA. And then we created this standalone ecosystem. And it has the adult use conditional cultivator license, adult use conditional processor license, and the conditional adult use retail dispensary license, which we call CARD. So think about you grow it, you process it, and then point of sale. Thus, to date, we've issued 279 adult use conditional cultivator licenses with additional applications under review, 40 adult use conditional processors licenses with additional licenses under review, and 251 CARD licenses with additional applications under review. And really to get the CARD license, there were 2 pathways. One was nonprofit, and you had to be a nonprofit intentionally servicing justice-involved people and engage in social enterprise and meeting other requirements. And then there were the individuals. And so in order to be eligible for a license as an individual, and it's either individual or eligible family member, you had to have a New York State related cannabis conviction, and experience owning and operating qualifying businesses. And this is the first of its kind in the nation. Really, we started here in New York State with equity. That was the first licenses that came out. And that is something that, as New Yorkers, we should all just be very proud of. And so this is really what you guys want to hear, the role of the community board. Per the cannabis law, community boards and municipalities are allowed the opportunity to express an opinion on whether they support the Cannabis Control Board's approval of a retail dispensary, on-site consumption, or registered organization with dispensing license in their area. Community boards do not have a role in other cannabis license types. Remember, there are 9 license types. So the nursery, the cultivator, processor, or distributor. So the community board does not have a role in that. People or businesses who apply for a retail dispensary or on-site consumption need to submit notification that their proposed location is within the boundary of the community board. The municipality community board opinion will be part of the record upon which the Cannabis Control Board shall grant or deny an application for a cannabis license, and applicants should be afforded the appropriate amount of time needed for the municipality to opine on the proposed cannabis location. So all of that to say that there is a 30-day notification that licensees must submit to the community board, and the community board, similar to SLA, has an advisory opinion, and that opinion is sent to the Cannabis Control Board, and the Cannabis Control Board will review that in addition to other factors, and that opinion will be part of the record for that applicant. And at this point, I will turn it over to my colleague, Phil Rumsey, and after his portion, we'll be happy to take questions. Phil?
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Pascal.
What?
Okay. Yeah, so I want to touch upon the enforcement actions of OCM and what we have been doing and what we will be doing moving forward. The MRTA, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act, gave the Office of Cannabis Management enforcement powers over legal licensed businesses that we gave a license to, and that was it. We have been working with local authorities and DAs to address the immense expansion of the illicit market of brick and mortar stores, and have been up to very recently been seizing the illicit cannabis and finding stores. Next slide, please. So again, we've been trying to use with the limited power that we had originally to crack down on the illicit stores. The enforcement division at OCM has been working with DAs, law enforcement on different strategies to go about shutting down these stores. We've also seen some innovative techniques at the local level for individual municipalities taking this seriously and getting out in front of it. We have had a few multi-agency task force to go in and shut them down. And we are continuing to do that right now. It includes visiting the stores, sending the cease and desist letters. And again, this was before we had the new enforcement powers, which I'll get to. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, so here's some pictures of our team going into some of the illicit shops. Next slide. And before and after, everything on the left side was a THC product, and right side is the aftermath of us going in there. Next slide. And our new enforcement powers. So after starting off with a rather limited ability to go after the illicit storefronts, in this year's New York State budget, we do have a new framework that we can operate under, and it does allow us to take specific enforcement actions against businesses selling cannabis without the required license. These are the sticker shops that you can see throughout your community, and going after unlicensed businesses selling cannabis. Again, before we could only inspect or go after entities that we have given a license to. The problem is none of these illicit shops were given a license by us, so we're instantly running into a brick wall. That's now changed. So this does allow OCM to conduct regulatory inspections of all business selling or giving away cannabis. And if the businesses refuse entry, we can use a court order if needed. It does allow OCM to seize cannabis found in unlicensed businesses, which is new for us. and allows for civil penalties against unlicensed cannabis businesses. Next slide. So we've always had the ability to revoke, cancel, or suspend a real cannabis license under the MRTA. The problem is there's been such limited number of licenses given out, and none of those apply to the illicit shops. We do have the authority to conduct inspections during regular business hours and of the business itself and any vehicles associated with it. If they if they have any of the following: medical cannabis, adult use cannabis, cannabis products, cannabinoid hemp, which doesn't have THC, and also hemp extract, which does not have THC. These are the categories that we control from the state. And now if anyone is claiming that they're selling these, marketing these products, we now have the authority to go in and shut them down when needed. Next slide, please. In addition to the new tools, we are continuing with some of the old verification methods we have. The sticker here is 12, 13 inches tall. So it's pretty prominent, and an individual can scan this with their phone, and they'll know if they're going into a legal dispensary. This is something that we have been using for all medical and recreational stores that we have. Next slide, please. So enforcement, as we continue with our new powers and implementing this and cracking down on stores which are selling illicit, untested cannabis without the proper license, we still want to hear from yourselves and members of your community board on where these illicit shops are. We do have a link here that brings you to a form. Again, all this will be emailed out to you, so you will have these direct links. And when possible, we do ask for name of business. If you feel safe, you can take pictures. Let us know where these are so our enforcement team can begin the process of shutting them down. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Retail guidance. So as we're moving forward here, we do have, as Pascal said, we're moving forward with the card licenses, the conditional adult use retail dispensary, where community boards come in. We have a great document called Guidance for Adult Use Retail Dispensaries. We will send this along as well. This outlines every step the licensee has to take before they can enter into the legal market, including inventory tracking, location security, facility requirements, branding, marketing, and signage is all controlled by OCM, and they do have to go through our process before we allow them to open. Next slide. So the MRTA regulations, again, these are the 9 license types that Pascal had mentioned earlier. They have gone out and have completed their initial 60-day public comment period. It was just June 14th that we sent the revised regulations out for their 45-day public comment period. We're expecting them to come back on July 31st is when the public comment period will end. You can send any comment to the email here, the regulations@ocm.ny.gov. We do want to hear from the community on what you think we're doing right and what you think we're doing wrong and ways that you think we can improve. That's the whole point of the comment period. So they are out now. We can send a link to them once we send this PowerPoint as well. Next slide, please. So part of the training that's going on right now to make sure that these dispensaries open and that they are properly managed involves the staffing. There will be an employee in charge if there is a product recall, if there is a complaint from someone around the store. If there's an issue that we have, we will be able to reach out to a specific employee at any time, and there'll be the kind of main go-to individual for the Office of Cannabis Management. Anyone working at the dispensaries will have to go through a written manual. There'll be curriculum requirements for that they'll have to take and complete before they go, and that's to ensure that they can answer questions, walk people through the different types of cannabis products. There's plenty of people that will be confused between what is shatter and what is a dog walker. Those are terms that people have absolutely no idea what they mean. The bud tenders behind the counters are going to be able to walk you through every product and give suggestions if asked. Next slide, please. So we do control quite a bit. Again, this is all in the guidance for adult use retail dispensaries that we will be sending along. One of the things we do control is the signage. Each dispensary is limited to 2 signs. No image, logos, or symbols can be on these signs. There are no neon signs, so you won't have a 7-foot tall cannabis leaf flashing at 2 o'clock in the morning. There are no neon signs that are allowed outside of a legal dispensary. And we've run into issue with people opening. They actually had a neon sign, and our team realized that it was on the outside, and we had to postpone the opening. So we do make sure that these places follow these our guidance and make sure that they're in line before opening. Next slide, please. So yeah, for the future reference here, if there are events you would like OCM to be aware of, you can send to the email events@ocm.ny.gov. And if you'd like to receive updates from us, you can go directly to our website. On the main page, you'll find a link to put in your email, and that will allow you to have the updates that we send out.
All right, I have a question for you. Hello? Bring it back.
Yes.
Hello?
Bring it back.
There he is.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's the difference between your product and the illicit product?
Oh, a ton of difference. Thank you for that question.
Okay, tell me the
Our
ton.
product is grown in New York State. Well, the Office of OCM, Office of Cannabis Management actually doesn't have product, but the products in the licensed dispensaries are grown in the state. They are properly taxed, so the money comes back into communities, and they are tested. Remember the 4 tiers? And so the laboratory tier, that is what they're for. They're tested, so you know that you're getting a safe product. Now, the product in these illicit shops, they're not grown in the state, and there's been studies that's found, mold and other metals in there, and nobody wants to, human lungs, it's not built to take in metal. Right. And so it really is a danger to public safety and public health. And so those are some of the main differences.
And then
I would flag some of the eyesores that you see if you walk 10 feet, anywhere. I feel like in any block, you're going to see some pretty intense stores with lots of neon signs where you can see directly inside of it. So the entire store front and the experience going into them is completely different. And yeah, as Pascal said, I mean, it's night and day. We know that there's everything from mold to salmonella to heavy metals to pesticides that are in these illicit shops. So it's night and day difference, and there's clearly a market for this, but putting money back into the community is one of the bigger differences, as Pascal flagged here.
And lastly, the licensed shops don't sell to minors. So anyone under 21 not able to come in. And yes, IDs are checked. They're checked several times. They're checked 2 to 3 times by the time you get to the bud tender to pay.
So does anybody that apply for this license have to come to the committee board?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Does anybody that apply for this license have to come to the committee board?
Yes, as you may recall in the 2 slides that I went over, the role of the community board, they have to provide the community board with 30-day notification. And, you know, the community board can have them come before them. And the advisory opinion of the community board is shared with Office of Cannabis Management and the control board, the Cannabis Control Board. So yes.
I have 2 quick questions. One, you have some similar requirements that the SLA has. Do you have requirements of where a dispensary is located? Like SLSA has, you can't have it too close to a school or to a place of worship. Is the same thing there?
Yes. It is 500 feet away from a school, 200 feet away from a house of worship, similar to SLA. Excuse me, if that school is co-located with retail or anything else, so it has to be exclusively used as a school or exclusively used as a house of worship. If not, then it negates it. Additionally, it has to be on the same street. If not, it negates it. Phil, you want to tell them about the buffer?
Sure, we are implementing a 1,000-foot buffer right now around dispensaries. And, you know, that's also, that buffer is also, and a lot of what we're talking about are in the regulations. So again, I want to flag if there are issues that people have or think we're going in the wrong direction. Now's truly the time to weigh in and make sure that we hear those concerns. But yeah, there's a 1,000-foot radius around each dispensary right now that has to go through us or DASNY to get approval. And that's to negate any clustering. We don't want what we sometimes call a Starbucks effect, where you turn on every corner and there's another dispensary or something. So we are implementing that right now as well.
Okay.
With the,
Go ahead.
oh, you have another question?
Yeah, well, I was gonna ask, does it include playgrounds or it's just schools and houses of worship?
Schools and houses of worship are specifically cited in the MRTA.
Okay, and my other quick question was, someone had mentioned that that you have to have an official dispensary in order for the OCM to start closing down the illegal businesses that are in that area. Is that true?
No.
That was true originally. I mean, originally the only authority OCM was over places that had a license from us, or there may have been essentially a health and safety violation that we kind of went around to try to shut them down. We now have jurisdiction over any brick and mortar location which claims to be selling or gifting cannabis. So after this year's budget, it's a completely different game that we're playing. We don't need them to have a license from us to have authority over them. We just need them to be selling something they claim is cannabis, and we can go in and start the process of shutting them down.
Okay,
But
so it
also-
doesn't have to be a dispensary there, right? For you to close them down?
So, before we get to that point, just want to also just point out that, as Phil said, even before we had jurisdiction in, you know, being able to go into unlicensed stores, whether they're bodegas or smoke shop or whatever, we worked in an interagency fashion with the NYPD and the New York City Sheriff's Department. And so we've been engaging in enforcement actions all along. It is now we have more tools in our toolbox to go after them. But we've been engaging and have been going after unlicensed sellers all along.
Okay, but we don't have to have an official dispensary in an area for you to close down any of the illegal.
No, because even before, again, we were going after them before we even opened stores.
Okay.
Before we
I
issued
just wanna
licenses,
clarify.
we were going after illicit sellers because they're still endangering public health. They're still skirting the law.
Thank you.
I have a question. I have a question. I'm gonna circle back to what you said about the school. So the 500 feet, is that from the school address? Or could it be from the schoolyard that is attached to the school?
Good question.
Uh-huh. The schoolyard, there's a schoolyard that is attached that could be much closer than 500 feet.
Yeah, it's from school grounds. It's from the school grounds. However, as Pascal said, it does have to be on the same street. If it's on a different street, the
Same street.
500 rule doesn't kick in.
Same street.
Yep. So yeah, it's from school grounds is what's in there, and on the same street, but it does include. That's where we differ a bit from SLA. That it doesn't, it encompasses school grounds as opposed to a door-to-door type measurement.
Okay, so that's very important.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question. My name is Oscar Grant, and I'm the president of the Pelham Parkway Resident Council. This store that you're referring to at 2460 Williamsbridge Road, okay, less than 50 feet across the street is a playground attached to a school,
Thank you.
okay? A public school. You can take a ping pong ball and throw it across the street where the children are attached to PS 89. So now, if your 500 feet is accurate, then that shouldn't be even an issue of you putting a cannabis store there. It's closer than what we can see the street light outside. So why is it that is coming to 2460 Williamsbridge Road? It should be allowed. You just said yourself, if it's attached to the school, that's automatically disqualified.
So,
Well, I mean, we can always, we have a team that goes through and checks these things. And, there is the exclusive use, there is the being on the same street. And I know that they look at these carefully. Yeah.
so we're not going to be able to answer your question, and I hear I totally understand your passion with your question. We can't answer that question for you right now simply because we don't have the map in front of us and can give you a response that's based in fact.
When will you be able to satisfy that question and come and let us see exactly what you're doing when you're doing it?
So what we can do is when we send the email with the slides, we'll be able to answer that question because, tomorrow we'll be able to talk to the team that looks at, all the sensitive use and everything else. And we can ask them, hey, this location got approved. Can you give us more info? And then we can send it to you. But I don't want to give you an answer.
Okay.
We're not going to give you an answer. We don't have all the information.
Just so the committee is clear, the two people that are from the Office of Cannabis Management are not, in fact, opening this store.
No, we know.
So,
We're not allowed to
specific
open any
question.
stores.
They're not allowed to open any stores. They are allowed to give out the licenses and police the licensed and unlicensed stores.
That's exactly
So
the point.
specific questions are probably more likely better answered by the applicant.
Consisting of what's going to happen. It's not premature. We're asking the block, if it should go forward, what are the recourses? Now, you're less than 50 feet away from 300 children. 50 feet, not 200 feet, not 500 feet, 50 feet from 200 children. Okay, you have 500 children in the school. Around the corner from there, it's more than 500 feet. You only have 2,000 children. That's Christopher Columbus High School. If you go to the next block, you only have a Catholic school, St. Lucy's.
So, sir, as I said before, it has to be on the same block. So if you're saying around the corner, if it's not on the same street.
We can exclude. Let's stay on the same block across the street, where I can reach across the street and touch the children.
Okay, but as I said to you, I fully understand your passion with your question. I really do. I don't have the information in front of you, so I'm going to, in front of me. So unfortunately, my answer is only just gonna frustrate you more because I have to see all the information so I can give you a clear answer. So I'm asking for some grace,
Sure, I
right?
understand.
Let me get with my colleagues tomorrow, and then we will email that response.
Right, well, you can come, my name is Oscar Grant. I'm the president of Pelham Parkway Resident Council. I have more than 3,000 people there, and we would like to know an answer. This community board can call us. I'll give them my name, my number, and my office number. They can reach
Well,
out, we will come and talk with them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oscar. And I'm thanking you because you care about your community, and that's very evident. And
Yeah.
so we are gonna look into it, and then we will, when we send the information to the community board manager, they will be able to share it with you and everybody else. Because now that you've raised it, I'm sure there are plenty of other people sitting there being like, hey, Oscar's got a point. What's going on with this location? So we're gonna get the answer for you and for everybody else. Can you do me a favor and just give me the address again, please? Mr. Oscar, can you give me the address again, please?
Okay, we got another hand up.
Hold on one second. She's asking
Wait,
for
but
the
she asked
address,
the question.
address of the location where they're gonna be putting the dispensary.
2460 Williamsbridge Road.
Wait, you muffled. What is it?
2460 Williamsbridge Road. Bronx, New York, 10469.
And just, you could call the community board office on Monday. They said they might have it the information to us by Friday, but call
Okay.
Monday and we can have it emailed to you. And whatever the information they send to us, we can have it emailed to you.
Right.
Okay, you can ask for Chris.
Are you opening to the public? I mean, if you open to the public, are you gonna keep the 2 minutes first, and after that, if it's more time, we can add more?
Well, we can do it, we can just keep going and finish, because that's what we're doing anyway.
I was asking if any members of the committee can ask questions first, then after that, we can open to the public.
We have one hand up. I think it's Phyllis.
Phyllis online and Rita here. And
All right, we got 2 more questions for you. Phyllis, go ahead.
Okay, hi. Before you issue a license to a spot that is going to open, do you send someone out to look at the spot and see whether it's near a school? Okay, because so then how did he get the license if he's opening directly across the street from a school? Okay, thank you.
Colleagues, I will find out what's going on with that specific location. And the location is 2460 Williamsbridge Road, Bronx 10469. So I will ask them specifically about that. And then we will put that response in the email that we send to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Just to make one point, we're glad that we can kind of flesh out these questions and certainly get details on specific locations. We're not here advocating or pushing anything. We're here to give a PowerPoint presentation. We're not here to push for any particular licensee or store. Just to make that clear, we're not here for this store. We're here to help people have a better understanding of the cannabis ecosystem that will be vibrant here shortly throughout the state. And so, yeah, we're glad to follow up and get specific information on the location, but we're not here for that location by any means.
Okay, thank you. That's why we're all here though, for that location, because it's a terrible location. Thank you for your time.
Just for clarification, we asked you here by the committee so we could get a better understanding of the rules and regulations and the requirements so that we can ourselves make better judgments when they come before us and include, and at the same time, ask questions about the the location. But our main reason was to come here to educate us on the rules and regulations so we know how to proceed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have two more questions.
And Christine Culpepper and Rita.
Hi, my name is Rita from the Arlington Avenue Association. So if OCN.
Hey, quiet.
OCN isn't the one that allows us to go through. Who does allow it to go through? And who is the one that is monitoring where these dispensaries, the licenses are applied for and the locations, if you're not the one?
I'm sorry, you're asking about the licensed dispensaries?
I'm asking about the people who are applying for these licenses and the locations in which they are picking to open up their dispensary. Who is responsible for the monitoring of the location? You understand what I'm asking or no?
Yeah, so we are the state agency. Yeah, so
No, she said she is. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
here, okay, can everybody just, because there's a lot of interruptions and it's hard to answer your question. And the last thing that I want is for you to walk out of here with a misconception and then have that be, like have it live in your head, right? So here's what it is. We are a state agency. We're not representing any, as my colleague said, we're not representing any dispensary. We are a state agency. We issue licenses, anything related to cannabis. The 9 license types that I talked about, as well as the conditional licenses that I talked about. In addition, we enforce the cannabis law in the state. We are a regulatory agency. And so when people get the license, we have all these regulations. We are highly regulated. We're more regulated than cigarettes and alcohol combined. So we are a regulatory agency and we ensure that the people that we've issued licenses to follow the regulations.
Thanks.
So we're gonna take, Miguel, I'm gonna use you since you're co-host, I'm gonna use you as an example. Miguel fills out an application and he wants to open a dispensary. It comes to us. Miguel finds a location. We have a team, again, using the same database that SLA does for the liquor stores. We look at the location. If it meets the criteria and it's not 500 feet within a school, 200 feet of a house of worship. And again, remember, it has to be exclusively a house of worship, exclusively a school, and it has to be on the same block, can't be like on 135th and Broadway, and then the school is on like 135th and Amsterdam. It doesn't work. It has to be on the same block. We'll say, yeah, sure, here's your license, right? He clears all of that. Then there's a whole list of things that Miguel must do before he can open. A whole list. He pretty much has to tell us his whole life history and financial history. There's we have a compliance team, a licensing team. They do forensic level deep dive into all the documents, make sure that everything is as it should be. Then, as Phil said, before he opens, there's an inspection. And we've told people you can't open because you did not pass this piece of the inspection. So Miguel then has to pass inspection as well. His team's got to be trained. Remember in Phil's portion, it showed you all the training stuff, that we require. This industry is so regulated. Miguel's only allowed 2 to 3 logos in his store. There are certain colors that his packaging must be. It cannot appeal to children. It can't be, and the brands in there can't be Captain Kangaroo. It cannot appeal to children. So once all of that, then Miguel can open. But we do all of those things.
Right.
Excuse me.
Okay, we have
I
the
just
next
want it
question.
to be very clear because I know that people can get a little confused. I want it to be very clear that I am not and do not have an intention to apply for a cannabis license. Thank you.
Okay,
Christine.
Christine?
Yes, thank
ahead.
you. I think there's a lot of confusion about like defining the street, right? Because the school in question is, there is a schoolyard on the corner. And the entrance of the school, the main entrance to the school is on another street. It's not the same street front that the legal dispensary would be in. But the schoolyard or a yard is a playground is across the street. So I think that if you can get back to us with, you know, like clearly defining what you mean when you say the same street. Does it have to be parallel to that? Does it have to be like, you know, I think that is what's adding to the confusion.
So what we're gonna do, as I've said, is we're gonna go to our colleagues that really handle that portion, because that's not, you know, what Phil and I do.
Gotcha.
We're gonna talk to you know, our colleagues that handle that, and we're gonna get specifics about that location, and then we will send it. But again, there's nothing that we can tell you guys about that location tonight because we just don't have the information in front of us. So we're gonna be here with you guys for another 5 minutes. You can choose to ask us about the same location again, or you can choose to find a different question that we actually can answer. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm trying to just use our time together in a way that's useful. Because we are going to look into this. We have the address.
Have something.
If I don't look into this, if I come to the Bronx and Mr. Oscar finds me, I'm gonna be running back up, you know, back to Harlem, and I don't want to do that. So.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm Roxanne, Friends of Palm Parkway. Let's just clarify because the applicant did notify community board that on April 24th. But not to save time, if the community board did not send their opinion for the record, is there a cutoff time where they must submit it, or would this project proceed if the community board did not provide their advisory opinion for the record on time? Can you please respond to that, please?
Bill, can you take that? I'm just.
Yeah, we, yes, there's a 30-day window to reply once you receive the notification to the community board. And, you know, I will put this, we'll send this in the, we'll send this in the email as well, but I want to put in the form itself. Once the community board receives this form, there is a 30-day time period that kicks in. If we don't hear anything, we'll assume that is the response. And in the form I just put in the chat as well, you can request a 30-day extension. That's on the form, that's in the form. You can just send an email. It says how to do that in the form as well. But yeah, if there's no response, then we consider that to be the response, that there is no response from the community board.
Wait, somebody who hasn't spoken. All
My question, it was a good question. I'd like to follow up on it, please.
right, Joe.
Wait, please. Please, it's very important because we addressed 2460. Now, please ask for 30-day extension, but the reason why we need the 30-day extension is community board letter did not inform the community. We're not aware they took a vote a day before the cutoff date. The PS 89 was not informed, Palm Parkway Houses was not informed. I found out through the agenda that was misworded, that didn't give us it was misworded. They didn't say that they were objecting to location. I'd have to copy. This is all facts. I could email it to you. So to make it simple, the reason why we need that 30 extensions because the committee was not notified and the agenda was not properly worded to say they were objecting to the location. This is all facts, and I hope the committee board does the right thing and rectifies a mistake and provides that 30-day extension so the committee could have the input that you and we all see. Thank you so much.
Joe.
All right, wait.
You'll get the extension. You'll get it.
Anybody who hasn't spoken on this.
Hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Phil. Wait, Phil was saying something about the extension. Please let him talk.
You'll get the extension automatically when you send the request. It automatically occurs, and the notification to municipalities has to be completely filled out before the 30 days kicks in. So if you receive an uncompleted form, the 30 days should not start. But again, I would take a look at that form and send the request to the email in there.
Can I say something on the form? This is Chris from Community Board 11.
Okay,
Chris is talking.
several months ago.
Hold on.
Wait. Go ahead, Chris.
Hold on. This is Chris from Community Board 11. I'm staff of Community Board 11, community coordinator. In when it happens about the form that you're talking about, that form is very vague compared to the SLA form. I deal with these forms for the last 30 years almost now. The form that we got for these gentlemen that wanted to open this dispensary was just simple: name, last name, and the name of the company, nothing else. No contact number, no email number, no nothing. So we had no way of contacting these gentlemen. It happened these gentlemen showed up at the full board meeting only because the newspaper contacted this person. So it's any way you guys can work on the form, make it more detailed, just like SLA, because in SLA it has everything.
So we actually updated the form because that was some feedback that we heard. So there is a the form that Phil just provided. It has it asks for email, phone number, and things like that. So it has that now.
It has that now. So
yes,
instead of 30 days, can you guys make it 45 since it's just in the embryo, all this kind of information is very, very, very quick. I mean, a lot of information given to the public and also even to us office. Instead of having a 30 days notice, can it be 45 days notice in advance? So at least, can give us more time to be able to, like, members of the community will be allowed to come in and give their opinion when it comes to deciding where these dispensaries can be, open.
Well, so that's why the public comment period, which Phil discussed in his portion of the presentation, is really important. You can tell us verbally, but really it has to be in writing, in the public comment, during the public comment period. And so we encourage you guys to do that.
So, okay, on that matter, since you mentioned about the public and we can do that within those 30 days. As you can see, all these people, when they put in the notification, the 30 days given, as of the moment that we receive that 30 days notice, 30 days after, that's when they're given the okay.
I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I just want to clarify something. When I say the public comment period, I'm not talking about the 30-day notice. Our regulations are now out for public comment, and the regulations are the rules that are going to govern how we do all of this. And so that's what I'm saying. You guys should put in writing to us that you believe it should be 45 days or what have you, right? So that's something separate from the 30-day notification.
So now, within the 30 days notification, because that's how it works for SLA, at least that's how I understand it, and that's how I've been doing it. I received, let's say, the notice on June 1st. So I have until June 30th to give an answer to SLA about this establishment. After 30 days that they notify us, they have the right to open the establishment. Either we make a comment to SLA or not. So the same thing for this. Is it possible that this 30 days notice instead of 30 days can be 45? Because from the moment we take it to the moment we're going to have economic development meeting, to the moment we're going to have the full board meeting, it might be a period of 20, 25, 26 days. So this is given enough time for us and also to the public to examine whatever the issues might be, and we will be able to send it to you guys, the entire opinion or the motion or whatever objection or no objection for whatever establishment can be opened. That's the whole point at this moment.
Okay, so two things. As Phil said, during the initial 30 days, you can ask for a 30-day extension. Right? And it's in the form. If you're able to click on the form and look at it, you'll see. And all the all the links that Phil is putting in the chat we're going to send those to along with the slide deck and the answer about 2460 Williamsbridge Road.
Okay.
So all the links, we're gonna put all the links in that email. So that's number one. So again, you have the initial 30 days, and then if you need more during that initial 30-day period, you have to let us know that you're requesting a 30-day notification. So that's that's number one. Number two, you're saying, isn't there anything we can do extend it to 45 days? That's what I'm telling you, right? We have our regulations, and it's now out for public comment. And that's where I'm telling you to say that's the piece that I'm telling you to like put in writing to us.
Sounds good. So
Can you put the link to that in the chat so that he'll be able to just grab it for
thank you,
now?
Pascal. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna urge the chair of the committee to make a motion now that we vote about expanding or extending the time, and instead of 30 days to be 45 days. It's up to the chair of the committee to make the decision. It's up to the committee, and then also it's up to the full board tomorrow to vote it.
No, anybody that hasn't spoken, but right now we'll make a motion. I make a motion that we extend and we ask for an extension of time instead of 30 days, 45 days for that notice.
But yeah, I mean,
Extend
I
it
think there's a
from 30 days to
confusion.
45 days.
Right.
That's the motion.
Okay, but Joe, I think there's confusion.
It is.
What Chris is asking for that 45-day is like going forward to put in the comment section of their rules and regulations. What the public is asking is if we can submit for an extension regarding the 2460 Williamsbridge Road to ask for a 30-day.
Well, we're not talking, yeah, but
that's on the
one
form. Yeah, the instructions are on the form.
We
for
can,
that.
we can ask for that too, but right now we're asking for 45 days in order to get this thing, read it, examine it, vote on it, and get it back.
That's what.
So that's the motion. That's the
I
motion,
second
not
it.
for this school. Okay?
But I
So
think-
do
I
I
have a
second?
question for OCM.
Okay, wait one. The motion's on the floor. Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, ayes have it. All abstain.
You'll need to send that to us in the following the instructions on that we had in the chat, just to be clear. Like that doesn't extend it
Okay,
to
we're gonna
45
send it to you.
days.
The board will
Just-
send it to you. Definitely.
Okay.
All right, somebody, Bob, you haven't spoken yet. Go ahead.
There was
Only people who haven't
about
spoken.
3 or 4 months ago, there was a person here who wanted to open up a cannabis store called Mellow Times in the Allerton section. He said that I have to come before the community board before I do anything. Is that true or is that not true? And then, one more question while I have you. The board is going on hiatus starting July 1st through September 1st. So what happens if, say, this man over here wants to open up a shop July 2nd, say? 45 days will pass before September 1st comes. What do you do about summer opens?
Yeah, it's not 45 days, it's 30, just to go back.
Okay.
So, and to, yeah, the Marijuana Regulation and Taxation Act did not take into account, vacation time periods for community boards or municipalities. So if there's overlap, then if there's no response or request for an extension, then it's going to proceed as normal. No response is a response.
What does the person who is proposing the store have to come before the board? Do they have to notify the board, or does the board have to notify? Because I received yesterday from Community Board 10, another application for Westchester Avenue, which is the same as the one this board got, and this came in yesterday. So your new rule hasn't gone into effect yet.
Yeah, the notification has to be sent to the community board or the municipality. So that document that has the name and address and contact information, the one in the chat, that will be emailed again. They have to submit that to the community board. Once the community board receives that, that's when the 30 days kicks in. The notification to municipalities. When you receive that document, the 30 days starts.
So even if there's no contact number or whatever, how to get in touch with this person, he just has to mail it to the board office and then that's it?
That's when the 30-day starts, but again, the new form has all that information in it. The one in the chat, has that information. It's contact, email, phone number. And yeah, that's when the 30-day kicks in. The state legislation does not take into account, vacation or time when community boards aren't in session. So if that occurs, then yeah, it will proceed after the 30 days are up, unless there's a request for an extension, and those instructions are in the link I put in the
I'll
chat.
open up one next week because this board's going on hiatus.
Is that a one-time extension?
Spoken?
It's a
No.
one-time extension.
So you could,
No.
like, for instance, since we will be on hiatus for the 2 months, would that be taken into consideration? Would we be able to get another extension?
No.
No. No.
Well, that's rather unfortunate, don't you think?
But
But in
Again,
order
you
to
can't take
change
into
that,
account hiatuses. I mean, it
but
wasn't
the
built
thing
into
is,
the law.
what we can do is suggest that they do count for hiatuses because the regulations are still out for public review, correct?
That might be a little tricky just in the sense that the MRTA, I think, gives the specific guidance on it. It references this document that we call notification of municipalities that has to be sent in with the address, with the name of the person. So that's baked into the law itself. But I mean, I think it's certainly worth suggesting that for sure. And it's
that
something we
the
can take back
process
to our
for that would
team.
be the same one as it would be if we suggested a 45-day instead of a 30. Correct?
yeah, it's through the public comment period.
The same process. Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I will say that I know there are some community boards where, they only meet for licenses for SLA and now cannabis. So, and I'm not suggesting that you guys do that. I'm just saying that there are different community boards as individual and everybody kind of does it differently. But also keep in mind that, the process is not just for New York City, it is for the entire state.
Mhm.
And so in other jurisdictions, they don't have community boards. They have planning boards, and those boards meet, year round and things like that. So it's it's really a balancing act when the legislature put the law together, put the MRTA, and as Phil said, it specifically references that 30-day notification.
Okay, we're not gonna get too much further with that. Go ahead. You haven't spoken?
Yes, I just want to make a comment as a mom and a community member. I think that there's a huge range between preventing arrest of individuals for having a small amount of marijuana and normalizing and encouraging marijuana use. It's never okay to smoke a foreign substance. That's not helpful. And I just want to say that it's especially dangerous for our young people. Since this regulation has been passed, now in many places that I go, even on the subway, on the platform, you see young people smoking marijuana at 8 o'clock in the morning. I really feel that in the rollout of this legalization of marijuana, that the powers that be really failed our families and young people in particular. There was not enough education done in coordination with the schools, with the churches, with community groups to make sure that young people understand the dangers of marijuana use. We see that in increased rates of depression, anxiety, psychosis, and in the number of emergency room visits related to marijuana use. So I just wanted you all to bear those things in mind as you are you know, rolling out this program, handing out licenses. This is not something that is helpful. It's really an injustice to our youth, and you don't realize how the use of marijuana has been normalized, and it's really affecting youth and families. Thank you so much for listening to my.
Thank you.
And I also,
Thank you.
Comment.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, and we receive it. I do want to say,
Sure to put in the 30-day request to extend. Please.
That's fine. Cynthia.
I do.
Wait, hold on.
I do want to say that we have information on our website. We have digital public health materials on our website. So we'll be sure to include that in the links. And, you know, it ranges from, you know, breastfeeding and, you know, cannabis to how to talk to your kids, what's legal, what's not legal, and things like that. So we'll be sure to put that. And we do have an amazing public health team. They're actually, we've put out 2 public health campaigns already. And, you know, the most recent is Why Buy Legal, educating people about the importance of purchasing from the regulated market for all the reasons that we talked about. And the first one was before we even started issuing licenses, and it was on the subways as well as on the highways and things like that. And we continue to develop public health materials, but we totally hear and receive what you said, so we thank you. But we continue to curate and work with community and work with sister agencies at the state to make sure that we're educating people as best as we can. And so we're going to continue to do.
We'll need another meeting, no question about it. Okay, Hiram Gonzalez. Hiram?
No.
So it's 9:07. We'll stay with you guys until 9:15, but then we really do have to drop.
So we have 4 more questions on the board. We're gonna call you guys, but please make your questions quick, and that way we can get the questions answered. So first, Ephraim.
Ephraim, is there?
Yeah, yes, I am. My question is, when this was rolled out, did anybody take into account the different localities that you're going to be putting this up? Because there is no broad brush in New York State. And the only other thing, if you can answer that, because I think that they need to go back and make an amendment to tweak it, just like everything else, just like what they have to do with bail reform, which was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, because they didn't even bring in prosecutors and law enforcement to come in and
Now
talk
let's
about
stick with the cannabis, Ephraim.
No,
because we're here till
well,
9:15.
but you're allowing people that had convictions to get it. So I just want to know what the discussions were with that. And the last thing I'm going to say, and I don't want to extend this, is that I see the effects of marijuana use in the emergency department. I work in Montefiore. I see it just about every day. And this is actually going to impact people of color if that dispensary goes on 24 Williamsbridge Road, because they're the ones that they target to do this. And I feel so bad. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that's gonna have to go up, that's a different question. That's gonna take a lot of work. That's gonna take a lot of work with the inner parts of this committee.
You got Lori up there.
Lori, Cynthia, and then Diana.
Yeah, Diana?
Hi, I don't know if you answered this question earlier, but now that you're starting, there's more and more of these legal shops going up. Is there a certain amount that could go up? Or like what I'm saying, there'd be one on one block, one on the next block, like nail salons, or is there,
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
buffer.
1,000 feet
buffer.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
okay.
there's a 1,000 feet buffer around.
So
it.
every 1,000 feet, you could have a legal marijuana shop, is what you're saying?
No, we're saying that that's the buffer. Our board chair, Tremaine Wright, and our executive director, Chris Alexander, have said that there's not a cap, but we're also trying to grow a healthy cannabis ecosystem. And what we're doing is we're growing it here in the state, and we're Part of it is seeing what the market does, understanding, demand, supply, and all of those things. So there's not a clean answer to your question, but again, we do have 1,000-foot buffer, so that, as Phil said, you're not having the Starbucks effect. Remember, before COVID, there was a Starbucks on every corner. That's not what we're trying to do here.
I hope not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Last person, Cynthia Rodriguez.
Diana. Diana.
Diana.
There she is.
Cynthia, we'll do Diana and that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So as this is a new industry, and I'm not sure if you addressed this, once an establishment has received its license and it is operating, is there a mechanism in place for regular inspections, maybe quarterly, yearly, whatever, to ensure that these establishments are compliant with the regulations?
Yes, there are regular inspections, and there are also, remember back in the day, my mom did this. Remember back in the day, your parent would just like pop up out of nowhere when you're supposed to be somewhere?
Oh, yes.
Right? We're gonna do that too. So there will be, scheduled inspections, and then there'll be pop-up inspections. And in addition, the enforcement email and information that Phil sent, you can send that to us if you see something that, isn't as it should be. Send it to us, because we have jurisdiction now we have jurisdiction over licensed and unlicensed sellers. So definitely we want to hear if, the licensed dispensaries aren't following the rules and regulations. So there are all those mechanisms for you to provide us feedback. And also we will have inspections, both, scheduled inspections and the parent pop-up inspections.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Okay, I make a motion.
Diana.
Okay.
Diana, and that's it. Last
All right,
person.
go ahead, Diana.
3 quick things. I came late, so I'm not sure if this was answered before, but did the proprietor of the Williamsbridge Road location already pass some kind of certification before even coming to the community board? I wasn't clear on that. And has he submitted the full form that needs to be submitted for the first 30-day review yet? Or is that the new form that you put in the chat that he now has to submit? And the last thing is more for the board. Can you make a motion to be voted on at the full board meeting tomorrow that would deputize the Economic Development Committee to be able to respond to dispensary requests that come up during July and August when the full board is not meeting? Because you'd have to do that tomorrow. Get the full board to vote tomorrow to take care of July and August.
So what would your motion sound like?
Well, first, let's answer her question, and then we'll let you guys handle your motion. So the question regarding the 30-day notification that was sent to the board, you guys have that, so we can't answer that question for you. Your first question was if they met all the requirements needed to open, right? That was in essence.
Right. To even submit that application to the board, it said that they'd already been certified somehow by the OCM. So
So they were conditionally licensed. And so what that means is they're at the point where they can secure location, submit to the 30-day notification to the community board. And then there's a whole lot of other paperwork that they have to submit to us. And then our licensing team will go through everything and make sure that everything that's been submitted is as it should be. And then they'll be able to, then they have to at the same time be like working on the build out, get inspection, get products, and then they can open. But in the chat, Phil put in, and again, we will send this in the email, a slew of information that we ask. We are more regulated than alcohol and tobacco combined. And so we ask for a lot of information and they have to provide it. And we have staff that painstakingly go through it. So
So they've already satisfied that process and
they've satisfied the point where they are conditionally licensed, but they have to submit more paperwork and we have to go through it. And they have to, submit the 30-day notification to the community board, which they are doing. So the train is still moving. So they're on the right track and they're still moving forward.
Because it's just hard to understand what the community board has to approve besides the location.
So
What about the vendor, do they have to vet and approve? Or have you already taken care of all that?
yeah,
I would add that it's an advisory opinion, so there's not really an approval at the community board level.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
It has to do with objection and objection that we are when it comes to that matter, but
But is it only the location that the community board is really?
has nothing to do with
You
location.
can weigh in on anything you want. I mean, you could say you don't like the individual's name. You can say you don't like the location. You can say you don't like the hair color. You can say you think it's too close to a bus station. You can say anything you want in the opinion to kind of back up the advisory opinion you're sending in. So it can literally be about anything. And when Pascal was talking about that phase one, that initial approval at OCM, we don't have the location when we do that. We just make sure that they hit all the criteria of filling out the application. They have the correct, background. You need a experience owning and operating a business for multiple years. It's things like that we provisionally approve. Then they go on to the address, and then we hear from the municipality and community board.
I have a question. Since we didn't receive the newest form, the 30-day notice, can in technicality or at least request an extension?
You can request a 30-day extension, but the old form, I mean, it did change mid-process, but it's not a hard reset for every applicant. So new ones will be using that.
You misunderstood the question. Since it was very vague, the first form, and we didn't have any means of notifying or requesting the owner or whoever's going to open the dispensary to come in front of the board, can we, in that technicality, extend for a 30-day notice? Meaning whatever decision wasn't made in time, can in that we extend it though?
The only extension is if you to email and ask for an additional 30 days. That's the only
So
extension.
even though it was the fault of quote unquote the state that didn't have the right form. In this
It's a
case-
different form. It's a different form.
Yeah, but the first one was very vague. We didn't have no means of contacting the person. So can it be on that?
There's not a reset. No.
No. Okay. Thank you.
So Chris, I think we should go ahead and guys, stop, please. I think we should go ahead and file for an extension tomorrow for this, and then we can discuss.
Yeah, but I
it
think,
full
I'm
board
sorry,
meeting.
Veronica, I think that the date is already passed. I'm gonna recheck it again, but what I suggest the committee make a motion to revisit when it comes to about the location of the dispensary.
Chris, the deadline is.
Second to come up with.
To extend. To extend. How many times we need a 30-day extension? We need to make.
I think it already passed when they submitted. It was already passed. As of tomorrow.
Is the second deadline.
Doesn't start until you receive the notification form.
Exactly. We received it almost a month ago.
Yeah, a lot of municipalities and community boards receive the old form, and unfortunately, I don't know of any recourse to have a hard reset now that we have an additional one. And it seems like some people are saying he was invited, it didn't come. I've heard that comment. So it seems like there was some form of communication between the community board and the applicant.
He actually did.
But
come.
there's no hard reset here. With the
So
new form, you can ask for an extension.
If the 30-day extension, we got it April 24th. The first 30 days would have been May 24th. Is there still time for us to put into the June 24th? For that 30-day extension to end at June 24th, or is that time passed for us to request an extension?
Yeah, if you received it in April, then yeah, I believe the time has passed, but I would still email the request and we can start this process because, you know, we're going through a lot of these things for the first time ourselves. So if you were to send that in to the email, you know, we can certainly flag this, and I would put those caveats in the email and explain why you're seeking an extension.
Well, let's make that a motion. That's a motion. Second.
Before you get started on that motion, we're just gonna, we're gonna say thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And this won't be the last time that we're here.
Wait, before you leave. I'd like to see you guys back here in about a month.
No, we're not gonna be here in a month.
What are we?
September.
Okay, I'd like to see you guys back here in September. That'll give us a better idea how this thing is working, where it's working. We'll find out what's happening on White Plains. And we'd like to see how this is working. And I think in September, we should get some clearer answers and maybe we'll have some better questions too.
So I can't commit to September just because we've already started getting requests for September. So I just don't know if that day is open. So if someone can just email, I can't remember who had emailed, who emailed the initial request to me. So just email and then we'll take a look at the calendar. So give me September and October date, and whichever day that we're available. You know, I don't have it in front of me, so
we'll give you those dates. We'll send you those.
Okay,
dates.
perfect. All
But I'd
right.
like to see
Pascal?
back here, because I want to find out how the program is actually working and how many complaints we get, how many observations we get. This will give us a clearer picture because right now it's foggy. Okay?
Pascal, please, when you guys are considering our request for an extension, please do not object to it because you don't like my name.
Never that.
Great name.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you
Good
for
night.
joining
Good
us.
night.
and
Thank
have a
you.
great time.
Everybody have a great summer. See you in September or October, hopefully.
Was there, we're,
9/22.
I think we made a motion for all those licenses, right?
did.
Okay. Okay. I make a motion that we're closed.
Ron, please clarify.
So I just want, we already made the motion about the cannabis location in committee. So tomorrow at the full board, we can bring it up again and have.
We can bring it up again.
So we don't have to have a motion here tonight, but we can do the motion tomorrow. So that's something that we could bring up at the full board meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, Veronica,
We make a
tomorrow at the
motion
full
to bring
board
it
meeting,
up.
if you can bring it up, if you can bring it up, so at least it can be a request for extension on the motion. So at least we can be able to verify when it comes to about the location of this establishment.
Yeah,
The
we'll
motion can-
we'll do the motion on the extension and the motion on the location tomorrow, because we're not gonna have time to do it at the June 24th is the last day. So we pretty much have to get everything done by tomorrow night. Okay?
Right, so let's do. But then we were 69.
All right.
But then that was screwed up for that.
Yes. Very welcome, very welcome. All right, so we're done?
Yeah.
Oh, and wait, were you going to make the motion to deputize the committee? What if you get a request for another legal dispensary in CB 11 in July 1st?
Then we're gonna request an extension.
Why don't you make a motion to ask the full board to deputize the Economic Development Committee to meet and deal with legal dispensary licenses if they come up in July and August?
Don't do that.
That's against the
Make a
proper
motion,
rules.
we adjourn. Second it all in favor. Okay, we adjourn.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Coming late, and then up all these questions, they're at home and we are sitting down here. This is not fair. People at home just come late and ask all these questions.
All right,
We're
thank
sitting
you
down
so
here.
much.
A lot of these people were there though. I mean, they were sitting at home, but
Diane wasn't here.
Have a
Just
good
come out.
summer, everybody.
that's the deal. Summer.
We have a house and kept the boat.
Yes, they stopped recording.
I guess the meeting's over?
They stopped recording. They stopped recording because they got hot and heavy.
No, it's still.
Oh,
No, they didn't stop recording.
No, no.
It's still recording. She
Jeremy
just
is
turned
still
off the mic.
on as host. The
She
host
just
is
turned
still
off
here.
the mic.
I notified Jeremy, he's gonna do it now.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
See you guys in September. Bye. Hey, Miguel, feel better.
Bye, Harry.